Electric Adventures here with my monthly vlog and channel update for January 2017. 1 month of the year gone already. I've been a little quiet on YouTube, only a couple of videos released this month because I actually got to go on physical holidays for once. Went up to Queensland, which is a lot further north than obviously where I am down in Tasmania, and we had a good 10 days of sun, as you noticed hopefully by my increased tan, which will probably fade quite quickly over the next couple of weeks, but we'll see how we go. It was actually quite nice the day we got back. We actually had quite a high temperature day, 28 degrees, which wasn't much cooler than where we were in Queensland, so it was very nice. So busy doing family and things like that. Did take a laptop with me and do a bit of dev work while I was there. But otherwise had a good relax with the family. Went to some theme parks, went to Time Zone up there, and we paid to have a 2-hour, play as many games as you want sort of thing, and there were quite a few pinball machines there, which I'll flash some pictures up if I get time in the editing, and played, had a few games on each one of those. There was also laser tag in there as well. That took up probably about 20 minutes of the 2 hours. So probably would have liked to have gone back, but and spend a bit more time on the pinball machines, because I really don't get a chance to access physical pinball machines very often, and I do like them. And no, I don't think my wife will agree with me getting a pinball machine here anytime soon, but you never know in the future. Yeah, really enjoyed that holiday. So back from holidays, I did get some, I actually got a couple of games while I was away. I won't show those because I've done another video with gameplays of those. That'll be my next video after this one. I'll release that in a couple of days when I do the editing. Really, this is just sitting down, going through this quickly. Now, my good friend Aaron and fellow podcast, now, I don't think I've actually enunciated this. I'm actually part of a podcast now called Press Play on Tape. A couple of guys down here in Tasmania get together and we talk retro, a little bit of focus on the Commodore 64 and particular games, because that's where the other two guys mainly concentrated, with me bringing a mix of some of the other systems. So gotten them into MSX a little bit, and lately we've been doing a bit of Atari 2600 sort of focus. So along that lines, so I don't get a chance to go out to garage sales and things and to the local tip shops, and these guys pretty much do on a regular basis, and they've been getting a few good things. Now, I have traded other items with them for all of these items, but these are the various things they've brought me in the last month. So one thing I've been after for a while, and I know my friend who I got most of my original Atari 2600 collection is actually the friend I grew up with's collection. When he left the state of Tasmania many years ago, he showed up and said, "Here, Tony, have this box of stuff," and it was the Atari 2600, which was an original Woody, and all of his games that he used to play. Now, I do remember Star Raiders, but I can't remember whether he actually had a copy of it, and I don't remember him ever having it has a special controller with it. You can play it with the console, but you've got to flick particular switches, and it becomes very difficult. But what they found is an actual Star Raiders keypad controller. So you put that in the second controller port and a joystick in port 1, and it allows you to obviously access the front view, the galactic map, hyperwarp, turn the computer on and off, and shields on and off. So you've got a few control buttons, and there's a special overlay. Now, these touchpad controllers, as you can see, they're generic. You could actually plug 2 of them in and have overlays. There was actually like a very basic programming language you could get for them as well, so that was the other thing they were used for. But the main great thing they were used for was Star Raiders, and this is obviously one that came with Star Raiders because it has the overlay, so really pleased about getting that. I still don't actually have a copy of the game, though, so that's something I need to track down. Now also, I'm going to let standard trade. What have I done with it? Yeah, they also, in the same trade as that, a copy of Jungle Hunt, which I didn't have. I have the Atari 8-bit version, but not the Atari 2600 version. Now, obviously, I'm going to show you these guys things. I'm not going to have any gameplay because I haven't had time to do that. But that version is quite a good version. Also, although I'm not sure, this is a bit label damaged and everything like this, but this is the 32-in-1 game cartridge that either came with the Atari 7800 or the Atari 2600 Junior, of which I've got both of those systems. Now, green, I think, might be the Junior one. I think the Atari 7800 one might have been white. But anyway, I've got a copy of this cartridge. I actually haven't even tried it yet, and I'm not sure what games come on it. So maybe I might, if I get time, since I'm into the Atari 2600 at the moment, might do a specific gameplay on that at some stage. But that was nice to get those. Yeah, so in a separate trade, they also, the guys had the Jungle Hunt manual and the Star Raiders manual. So I really am only just missing the cartridge now, and I'm sure I will find one at some stage. Now, another item, really it's just a rounder out from my original Spectra Video computer collection, is a mini expander. So the Spectra Videos, they had quite a lot of expansion options, and mainly you had a large super expander, which I have one of. If I remember, I'll put a picture up there. And that had a disc controller in it, and you could add on an 80 column card, a parallel port card, an RS-232 card, and there were a couple of other custom ones. I actually have a locally made parallel card that's only a tiny little card, and it just allows you to put a single item into the machine with, I mean, it looks like it's the same connector, but allows it to sit vertically out of the machine. And you just put the card in there. So card interface there, onto there, and then you put your card in there, and it just allows you to sync up. But it won't, unfortunately, let you use the disk interface. You need a super expander because there's not enough power generated out of the back of the machine to run a disk controller. Now, with that, now I do already have one of these, though it is an RS-232 card. So this is what the expansion cards used to look like. And they'd normally go in the super expander, and they'd pop out the front there, and the light would come on when you use them. And this one has an RS-232 on the back. You'd have a cable going out to the back of the super expander, and then plug your cable in there. Or if it's used with this mini expander, like so, there we go. You just plug in the back of the computer, and you would have an RS-232 interface. Now the which would be very useful for you know, going onto a bulletin board or something like that back in the day. Although that would have more commonly been done through running CPM on the machine with the disk controller. So the single slot expander was a more uncommon item, so that's why it's nice to get it to complete the collection a little bit more. So very nice find by the guys. Also another thing, Aaron had seen a copy of this around. I have most of the Hess multi-pack releases except for one. And this is quite a common one, but I haven't been prepared to pay the money that some people sell them on eBay, because they really are quite common. They come up quite a lot, and it is the Rad Action Pack. I actually have all the other games, all of the other packs bar this one, so this completes that collection. And as you can see on the front, it has Kung Fu Master, Chopper Command, Frostbite, and Freeway. So Frostbite itself singly is not a common game, and Kung Fu Master, you find copies of it everywhere in Australia, but it was a later release, and it's not a bad game. Obviously Chopper Command's a fantastic game, and Freeway, I mean, it's just running across freeway with a chicken. Now, it doesn't have both. It actually has one cartridge with Kung Fu Master, Frostbite, and Freeway on it, and then it had an actual copy of Chopper Command loose in there. Now I have, do I have Chopper Command complete, or do I just have it loose? I already have a copy of Chopper Command loose, so I'll probably just pop that in there to complete that. And there we go. There was nothing special about the cartridge, the Chopper Command cartridge. It was just a Chopper Command cartridge extra. And a couple of these Hess packs are like that. They've got a number of games on one cartridge, and then they've got a second cartridge with more of the titles. So really cool to, you know, just get a couple more Atari 2600 items in the collection. And then Aaron had picked up a whole lot of big box PC games off a garage sale, and he already had multiple copies of this one, and this is one of my favourite RPGs I played for the PC, and I don't have a big box version of it, so it was nice to get a copy of the original Baldur's Gate. That's in really good condition. A little bit of squishing there. Everything is inside. It's actually rather heavy. Undo the flaps there. There's quite a big manual and book in there. And you've got the CD wallet. I love these big box games and all the stuff you used to get with them. Now there's a map in here as well. So try not to. There's sort of some noisy car comes past. Okay, so there's a lovely big map. Two sides. Put it up the right way. And these are my favourite sort of RPGs that I played back in the day. It's even got a receipt from Harvey Norman when it was bought in 2001 for obviously on discount for its original, well, $32.96. What a weird amount. And there's a couple other printouts here of obviously hints and things of maps that have been printed off the internet somewhere. There's a troubleshooting guide. And last but not least, we have a quick reference card. So it is all complete, so it's great having a copy of this. Now I do have a modern day digital collection of all of the Baldur's Gate and related Icewind Dale games. And I actually bought that because I want to, you know, slowly replay all of them, and it's very handy having it on the laptop. But it's just nice having that in my physical collection because it completes it off a bit. I've got Baldur's Gate 2, but not Baldur's Gate 1 in that particular large box release. Now, there's been a few pickups, but there's one more. I've had this on order for quite some time, and it's a book, and it's called Racing the Beam, the Atari video game computer system, and it's part historical documentation, but also mainly focusing on how certain games were developed for the Atari 2600 using its limited architecture, because the Atari 2600 is completely different from quite a lot of other computer systems that were released, you know, video games systems and actual computer consoles, and it does not have a memory map display, so you don't put items in memory and then what is in that memory is drawn to the screen as a separate process. What you actually have to do is control the drawing of the display, and it's amazing considering that what you can do with it. So it goes through different games, so like Combat, which is one of the original games, Adventure, Pac-Man, Yars' Revenge, Pitfall, and Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, to show different sorts of games and what they had to do to make them, and talking history and technical stuff when it's through. So it's quite a technical book. Now, as you can see by my book right there, I haven't finished it yet because I haven't had it very long, and I've been away for a couple of weeks, and I took my electronic book rather than a physical book with me. So anyway, so lots of bits and pieces of pickups. I'm very happy to have a couple of local guys that I click with quite well now, and make sure you, I'll put a link down to the Press Play on Tape Facebook page if you would like to, you know, look out for the next podcast, which we'll be recording very shortly. It's good. It's actually good fun taking part in the podcast, and we just get to discuss retro games and things like that. It's good, lots of good fun. As usual with these videos, I'm going to answer questions. This is a really simple, short one, shouldn't take too long. It's by Lawn Boys Post 1975 again. who, by the way, is just about to hit his 6 years on YouTube, which also means that around a month or two after that, it'll be my 6 years on YouTube as well. So make sure you go check out his channel. I'll put a link down to his original video where he asked this question. So it's all about how people pronounce and what they call their particular consoles. Now, a lot of it, is it Sega or is it Sega? Now, when you turn the console on, it says Sega, but here in Australia, a lot of the TV commercials were Sega. So it really depends on. I'll use both myself, as I do with the other consoles as well, but I probably predominantly use Sega, because that's what I've been exposed to as I've come through. And same as, like, I would call it the Sega Mega Drive, not the Sega Genesis. And because we had the Mega Drive, I got a Mega Drive when it came out, and it's a system that I'm used to. I mean, same as the Master System before that. Now, with the Nintendo systems, you have obviously the NES or NES. I probably call it, I'm probably about 50-50 with that system, because remember, familiar with my past videos, I never had a NES growing up, never really encountered it. We basically had the Master System and the Mega Drive, and hardly ever saw that. I did get a Super Nintendo at the same time as the Mega Drive though. So what you've just seen, I've called it the Super Nintendo. I'll call it the Super Nintendo more than I call it the SNES. But as I've been doing a bit of programming for them, and obviously watching YouTube more, I sometimes call it the SNES as well, but I will predominantly call it the Super Nintendo. So I suppose the part of the question just comes back to what you're more used to calling it. Neither of the things are wrong. Well, good thing Mark Virginia took it to the next stage of the PlayStation era. So you've got, do you call it the PlayStation 1, or do you call it the PS1? And then you've got the PlayStation 2, PS2, PS3, PS4. And I think because there have been so many models now, earlier on I would have called the PlayStation 1 the PlayStation 1, whereas now, when I refer to it, I probably call it the PS1, because I suppose it's quicker, it's shorthand, it's slang, and again, you get used to it. So what I've called it has changed over time. Just, I suppose, well, us humans like to make things more efficient as we move on and things like that. And obviously the Xbox is a little bit simpler. You've just got Xbox 360. There's no real shortening of that or anything like that. And original Xbox or Xbox One, that whole laughable naming confusion there. Yeah, it's not quite the same thing. So, horses for courses, I suppose. So go check out Dave's video. He's always got an interesting vlog or topic he pops up, usually once a week sometimes, so there's always something interesting going on there. And he's going to put out a 6th birthday video as well, probably next week or so. I think it's February the 14th or something like that. And here I'm prattling on and realise that I've forgotten to pick up, and it's one of the most important ones. It's actually sitting here right in front of me, and it has been the whole time. My mind's in a bit disarray. So, at our local tip shop, Aaron found this, and I've traded him one of my 728s so he can get a working MSX system. So he's used, it was one of my 728s that wasn't quite working, so he's used the two and made parts, put the parts together and made a working system. But he's actually swapped me a whole system that I didn't have, and it's Coleco related, so it was released by CBS Electronics. Now they CBS Electronics is the international arm of Coleco, so this would have been called the Coleco Gemini, but here overseas it would have called the CBS Electronics Gemini video system. So all this is an Atari 2600 compatible system. Now this is an NTSC one, so it does have a little difficulty playing PAL games. And so what Coleco did, they actually reverse engineered the Atari 2600 system for their Super Expander expansion module 1 for the Coleco, and so it could play 2600 games. There was a bit of a court battle, but since the Atari hadn't used any special components, they actually Coleco won that lawsuit and it was settled. So they then produced a standalone Atari 2600 system. So this will play Atari 2600 games. Now it is serial 8749, which is a fairly low number. I still need to clean it up some more. Aaron's already got it working, so it wasn't working properly. It had a little bit of rust and corrosion in the cartridge port, and he's actually fixed that up already. It has, on the back you've got power, which will just take a normal 2600 power supply, RF out, and there's a little AB channel select switch. On the front we've got a little reset button, game select, AB difficulty, colour black and white, and on off. All the AB difficulties are next to the joystick ports here, and 2 joystick ports. So it's pretty much a nice little compact Atari 2600 system. They had their own little controllers, which are a combination joystick and analog controller, and it's the one that only goes, so it's not like the driving controller, so this will play Breakout really well, and it's actually got a nice tight feel. I'm not sure about the joystick itself, that might wear on the thumb a little bit, but they're included as well. I've got 2 of those. I haven't actually plugged it in and tried it myself, but Aaron has. He actually borrowed a couple of my NTSC games that I have, that funnily enough I can get to work on my expansion module for my Coleco. That's how I can play those ones. So, and some, one of them works without using that, but one of them I have to. I think it's Time Pilot. It's the one game that I have to play on an NTSC system to get to work. Just another interesting little one there. So before I sign off, just a really quick homebrew update. Yes, I've been working on homebrew. Most of my focus has been on Sydney Hunter and the Caverns of Death of the NES. I received the graphics just before Christmas, so I've been cutting them up, and I've also been working on the game engine, which is basically taking the game engine I made for the NES Championship cart for Games 81's Game on Expo in Arizona, and that had the mini game, which was really Sydney Hunter and the Curse of the Mayans graphics. So I'm taking that engine, chopping up the graphics from the Caverns of Death game. I've got all the maps and everything like that, and just a lot of data entry, and I mean, I've just basically come back on the plane yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to record any video or anything like that, so I'll try and do a nice demo of where I've got to of that next month. Also Cavern Fighter for the Coleco and later on MSX. I'm pretty happy with that now. The game's working really well. I've partially written a sound effect and music engine part for it. I haven't quite finished. Didn't really work on that when I was away. I focused on Sydney Hunter. And also Berserk. Haven't really made any progress yet, but the same sound engine I'm working on for Cavern Fighter will be used to hopefully get some voice going. So they'll progress. Obviously, full-time job, 4 kids. Can't focus on too many things at once, but anyway, I'm hoping that 2017 will be a nice year of homebrew releases. I want to continue working on them and get them released because I really do enjoy working on them. Now, as far as channel focus, I hopefully straight after this, since most of my family's out at the moment, I'm going to try and record the next episode of Let's Make a Retro Game. We'll see how I go, and hopefully I don't get interrupted and I can get some more of those out. My A to Z of my Atari 8-bit collection, I've been enjoying those. I'll record some more of those, get them out. And obviously the other pickup video of the games I got while I was away on holidays, already mostly recorded that. I've just got to edit it and I'll get that out. That'll probably be the next video after this one. Alright, so I'm Electric Adventures. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope everybody out there is enjoying playing their retro and modern games. And I'll catch you next time.